Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. We are coming off the Slammy Awards edition of Monday Night Raw. It is Christmas week. Got your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift. Let's talk about Raw now and some other topics. First one today comes from Big Ryan. Hey Aaron, I think the opening segment made Roman Reigns look like a badass. He still talked too much, though. Your thoughts? I agree with you. I do feel the talking was too long. I do feel that it was better than most Roman Reigns talking segments, though. They had him come out and just laugh at Stephanie and not take her seriously. Almost like John Cena in a way. I guess this week Roman Reigns is back to being the John Cena type character, but I felt it was better than having him come out there and start making jokes at Stephanie or coming up with stupid lines to mock her. He just basically laughed her off and left the ring, and Stephanie got mad and put his best friend Dean Ambrose in a cage match like that's some sort of harsh punishment, putting the Usos against the New Day 2-on-3, and the Usos would go on to beat the New Day outnumbered. I feel the storyline was weak in a sense that Stephanie said she was going to unleash hell, and really all she did on the entire show was beat up Tom Phillips at the end of Raw. So I'm hoping in the coming weeks we will see something happen with Stephanie and Triple H, and they will do everything in their power to make Roman Reigns' life a living hell. But as far as how Roman Reigns, the character, was handled, I felt that the promo was fine. I had no real issue with it, other than the fact that I do feel it went a little bit too long. Alright, this one comes from Kayfabe Candy Ass. Merry Christmas, No DQ Universe. Who do you see as Roman Reigns' main rival in 2016? More authority, Sheamus, someone more interesting? Hopefully someone more interesting. One would think that we are going to have a Roman Reigns versus Sheamus rematch. Sheamus has not gotten his rematch from TLC. Now with that being said, it really boggles the mind how Sheamus was portrayed on Raw. He lost to Dean Ambrose in the steel cage match, and yes, Sheamus did knock Ambrose off the cage, but still, Sheamus had the League of Nations out there to help him. Roman Reigns came to the save of Dean Ambrose, so clearly Roman is a better friend to Ambrose than Ambrose is to Reigns, but whatever, that's a whole other topic. The point is, Sheamus, if he's going to be getting a rematch for the WWE title, he should be looking as strong as possible, and he lost to Dean Ambrose, and then Roman Reigns speared him, and that was the end of it. Sheamus does not exactly look like a credible challenger now to Roman Reigns in the WWE title. I think it's best to just get that match out of the way, do it on next week's Raw, and then move on to Roman Reigns and Triple H. And by the way, the whole idea of Triple H not even being on Raw after he was on NXT perfectly fine, to me that was another big logic hole. It's like WWE tries to pretend NXT doesn't exist when they're trying to advance their own storylines. Why not just say Triple H was busy or he's going to respond when he feels like it? Anything. Just pretending like he's still hurt. I mean, that was really dumb. And acting like Roman Reigns hasn't seen Triple H since TLC. I mean, that was just ridiculous. But one would think that we are going to see Roman Reigns and Triple H at some point in 2016, and then eventually maybe Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins once Rollins returns from his injury. Alright, this one comes from Tristan Quick. Hey Aaron, keep up the good work. There's talk about it every year, but the Slammy Awards, rigged or legit? People in WWE will say it is legit. Joey Styles, in particular, was very defensive about the Slammies. People were calling him out on Twitter, and he was being very defensive. I would like to think it is legit. The one category that really makes me suspicious about the voting is the Tag Team of the Year Slammy. The fact that the Usos beat the New Day, I find that very hard to believe, even if you take into consideration the fact that many casual viewers are voting. When you look at the Twitter polls, and on WWE's Twitter page, they had it so you retweet for New Day, you retweet for the Usos, and the New Day had more than twice as many votes as the Usos on Twitter. And of course, you also have to include Facebook and Instagram. But if you go on WWE's Facebook page, when WWE announced the Slammy results, all these comments were complaining about Usos winning. And all the most liked comments were saying New Day got screwed. It smells very bad. There's some kind of business shenanigans going on here. I don't know. I just think that the New Day, even with your casual fans, would be easily winning the Slammy for Tag Team of the Year. I mean, if every single WWE live event, people are chanting New Day and doing the chants, and they're even coming up with variations of the New Day Rocks chant. They would go, shame, miss, sucks, and that sort of stuff. The casual fans are on board with the New Day now. Usos were gone for most of the year. They were inactive because of an injury. It just doesn't make any sense. But everything else, Nikki Bella winning, I expected that to happen. She's winning the No DQ poll for Female of the Year. I expected Rollins to win. Actually, I was surprised Rollins won because of what happened with the Usos, but I figured Rollins would have to win if the voting was legitimate, because he won the No DQ poll, or is winning the No DQ poll by a landslide. And also, same thing on Twitter. More people were retweeting for Seth Rollins than Roman Reigns. So I'd like to think they are legit. I just question the outcome of the Slammy tag team. But why are we all making such a big deal out of it anyway? I mean, it's so ridiculous that I'm caring so much about it, dedicating this much time to talking about it, and we're all getting butthurt about it. I mean, whatever. It's just a WWE poll. It's a 1 week thing. Everyone will forget about it next week. All right, this one comes from Vishal. Do you think it was a good idea to bring back Rollins for one night before he fully returns from injury? Yes, definitely. It was nice to actually have a Slammy Award winner in attendance for the show. I mean, so many of the awards, and it's funny because WWE kept mentioning over and over during the broadcast, Michael Cole would say, this is the most prestigious award show on television, yet The Rock wasn't there, John Cena wasn't there, Brock Lesnar wasn't there, Undertaker wasn't there. At least Seth Rollins was there to accept the Superstar of the Year award. So I felt it was good for him to be there and just come back and hype up the future when he returns. I had no problem with it. I'm glad he was there. All right, this one comes from Mr. Yuck. Was this the weakest Slammy Awards ever? Not that Slammys matter anything. Your thoughts? I would say the weakest Slammy Awards show was 2009. I believe his name was Dennis Miller. He was the guest host, a celebrity guest host. To me, nothing will be worse than that edition of the Slammy Awards. I mean, even Vince McMahon himself got pissed off and started burying Dennis Miller on live television. That's how frustrated he was. That was the worst one. And I doubt anything will top that unless WWE brings back a celebrity guest host like Jeremy Piven for the Slammy Awards. That's the only way I could see it rivaling that for the worst Slammy Awards show. This one was definitely a train wreck, no doubt about it. It hurt my brain watching this week's episode of Raw. It wasn't maybe boring, but just when I'm watching it, I'm just like shaking my head for a lot of it. It hurt my brain. I mean, that's really the best way to put it. Alright, this one comes from Beast Slayer. Do you think the Hell in a Cell main event was better than the triple threat at the Royal Rumble? I would have to go with Match of the Year as the NXT match. Sasha Banks versus Bayley from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. However, WWE was basing the Slammy Awards off of what actually happened on the main roster, not NXT. Nothing from NXT was nominated. So when it comes down to strictly the main roster matches, I think I would probably go with Undertaker versus Lesnar just because it was a high-profile match, Hell in the Cell, settling a rivalry that went back to WrestleMania 30. But technically, I think I would go with the Royal Rumble match. I mean, that was an awesome match. And unfortunately, I think it gets overlooked by some people because everyone remembers that Royal Rumble for the Roman Reigns debacle. Fans don't remember the fact that that was actually an awesome match because they were so angry about Roman Reigns winning. I remember when I did the poll on NoDQ.com after the Rumble pay-per-view, it got overwhelmingly negative responses, thumbs down. Most fans were giving it thumbs down, even though you had a potential match of the year contender on that pay-per-view. I thought there was no way people would give it thumbs down because of the strength of the WWE title match, but they were so upset about Roman Reigns that people just gave it thumbs down because of that. So yeah, I think that match is in a way underrated, and I would probably go with that from a technical standpoint. Historical standpoint, I would go with Hell in the Cell. Alright, this one comes from Luden, the anime fans. So Nikki Bella is Diva of the Year. Is this a middle finger to real women's wrestling and not those that sleep to the top? Once again, WWE was basing the Slammy Awards off of the main roster performances and not NXT. If you're including NXT, you could definitely say that Sasha Banks was a strong contender for Diva/Female of the Year. I can understand Nikki Bella winning. She was the Divas champion for the majority of the year. When it comes to main roster accomplishments, let's face it, she was the champion for most of the year and she improved a lot. Her matches were decent. I am not arguing her being Diva of the Year, and quite frankly, she's winning no DQ's poll, so I figured there was no way she was not winning the Slammy, considering she's winning the no DQ poll, which is more of your hardcore, smart mark fans, and not your casual fans. She was easily going to win the Diva of the Year for the Slammy. Alright, this one comes from the Undertaker Guy. Do you see Charlotte having a lengthy reign as Divas champion, and who do you think will beat her for the title? Please answer in video. I could see her having the title until WrestleMania, and if it was me, I would keep the title on her until WrestleMania, have her lose at a major show, and who should beat her? I would go with Sasha Banks. I would do Charlotte versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania and have Sasha Banks win the title. I think that that would be the right decision, not only to elevate Sasha Banks, but to make the fans happy. So many fans out there behind Sasha Banks. Give her the big moment at WrestleMania, and that is a good way to make the fans happy. So I would go with that, but would not surprise me if Nikki Bella comes back and she's back in the title picture and we have like a 20 Diva Battle Royal at WrestleMania, so all the Divas get on the card and it really doesn't end up meaning much, or they'll do another tag match or 8 Diva tag match or something, and they won't even have a Divas title match on the pay-per-view, period. So anything's possible, but if it was my call, I'd go with Sasha beating Charlotte at WrestleMania for the title. Alright, got one more here from Adam Cole Bebe. What happened with the Alberto Del Rio versus Brock Lesnar match? Anything special? A couple of people have asked me about the WWE live event in Inglewood, which I did end up going to at the last minute. I thought it was a fine house show, wasn't terrible, wasn't really blown away by it either. To me, it was just a typical house show with Brock Lesnar on the card. Brock really didn't do anything all that special besides what you would expect. He came out there, he suplexed Del Rio, he hit the F5 on Del Rio. You had Rusev interfering for the DQ. Rusev got F5'd, he got suplexed, and that was the end of it. That was all it was. Brock Lesnar came out, had a 5-6 minute match, had the outside interference, cleaned house, and it was over. So that was really all it was. Nothing too special. I was upset that Paul Heyman was there and did not actually cut a promo. He could have just said something on the mic, just done his usual shtick. He was just out there, standing there at ringside, and that was the extent of his role. So they could have done more, but wasn't expecting too much going in since it was a house show, and I figured there was no chance Lesnar was going to win the U.S. title. Alright, so that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Stay tuned this week for more videos. Happy holidays, and I will see you guys next time for another edition of NoDQ&A video.